Hey everyone, I'm back for another Choose Your Adventure reading. Tonight I'm going to be reading Raid on Nightmare Castle. It's a Endless Quest book, number 14. Right, and it's written by Catherine McGuire. And here's the cover art. I'm going to read some of the back cover here. Okay. Pick a path to adventure. Assignment, Nightmare Castle. You are Kial, a young cleric about to set off on an important mission to dreaded Nightmare Castle. Will you be able to defeat the evil warlord Rorlis and rescue his captive, the brave elven ruler Estragon? The paths you may take are many, and the choices are yours. Will you enlist the aid of the great magician Kanos, even though his powers have been diminished through injury? Or will you take the magical jewel of Kabak he offers you, knowing that you may not have the courage to use its mind-destroying power against the monsters that guard the castle? In every Endless Quest book, action and adventure are yours. You will find yourself returning again and again to experience new paths of excitement. And if all goes well, you will bring to a successful conclusion the raid on Nightmare Castle. Hey, Rachel. For some reason, I'm not seeing my own video stream on my own Facebook. That is weird. Hey, Rob. Baby got Kai back. Let's see. I don't see my own.
You can go on my page and see it.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, how am I supposed to... Well, I usually look at a different screen to be able to respond. I don't see yours either. Oh, here we go. Finally came up. Took a while. Okay. All right, let's get started. And here's, I guess that's supposed to be us, and we're on a horse apparently, and we're going towards the Nightmare Castle. Yeah. Oh, Rachel. Yeah. Hey, Rachel. Yeah. It was weird. I started the brave ruler Estrogen. Yeah. Estrogen. Yeah. It took a while. Usually I see my own stream on my own page coming up like within a few seconds. This time it took like almost a minute. And I don't know if I already said this, but the cover art is by Jeff Easley, and the interior art is by Jim Holloway. This is made by TSR in 1983. Right. In this book, you are Kial, a human orphan who has been raised by elves. Though you appreciate your step-parents' kindness, you long to have the chance to prove yourself. At this very minute, your thoughts are interrupted by the deep, echoing tones of the great gong in the village square. The gong can only mean that there is trouble brewing in the land. Stephanie, I hope there is more choice. I think there will be more choices in this one. Yes. This is a slightly different type of book. There's no rolling for a character or doing dice rolls or any of those things like there was in the other book. So there should be more choices in it, I hope. The great gong sounds, its deep tones reverberating in the village square. You drop your bow and hurry from archery class to the center of town. It's trouble or good tidings. Why else would the elven prince Navoye sound the gong? Your friend, Idas, stumbles into you in his hurry. What do you think it is, Kial? I have no idea, you reply, but I did see some travelers near the archery field. Oh, I saw them hours ago, Idas says, laughing. Then he sobers, seeing your hurt look. I'm sorry, Kial, but you know you can't see as well as we elves can. You don't have to rub it. Your reply is cut short as the gong sounds again. Rising 14 feet high, the gong is a flawless clear crystal. It rests on a white marble base. The crystal is pentagon-shaped, faceted to send rainbows around the plaza. The base is so highly polished that you can see every detail of your reflection. Your freckles and carrot-red hair stand out among the blonde and white-haired elven folk of Silasan. The slender limbs and thin features around you contrast sharply with your square jaw and broad chest. Although strong, you lack the agility and speed of the elves, and you're reminded of this almost daily when Idas who is your age but a head taller, wins every race against you. As you glance over at the other 13-year-old, the crowd quiets suddenly, and the voice of Prince Neboye rings out across the plaza. You don't have to rub it, but what if you want to? You don't have to rub it. Yeah, that was a weird place for it to cut off. Midsommar, Choose Your Own Adventure. Oh, here we are at the gong. My dear friends, we have had news from the north, from our kin in the Sotho Mountains. Great tragedy has befallen them. The evil warlord Rorlis of Kothrab has captured their ruler, our brother Estragon. A gasp of horror rises from the elves, and Idas says in a choked whisper, Estragon is the wisest among elves. He led the great Council of Peace 10 years ago. You nod. You remember as a child seeing him briefly, and you recall the respect that he commanded. Even humans revere Estragon, whose reign has ensured harmony between elves and men for centuries. We got trouble in River City. It's like the Gong Show. We have reason to believe that he is still alive, Neboye continues, and the elves sigh with relief. Warless is demanding a huge ransom, money and elven weapons, for Estragon's release. We do not trust Warless to keep his promise to release our brother after we pay. We have sworn never to let elven magic fall into evil hands. Therefore, we have decided to send our great hero, Kanos, on a quest to rescue Estragon and destroy the evil warlord forever. Come on, Idas says. Let's see who's going with him. You race off to the manor of the renowned Kanos, Idas's father. Although you've lived with them for almost 7 years, you still haven't overcome your awe of the great elven magician. His stern manner and the exacting tasks he assigns make you nervous around him. He's a fair and wise teacher, but you're never really sure of his approval. At the entrance to the great hall, you stop. The tall, gray-haired Kanos is listening to a stout elf with blonde hair. Respectfully, I must point out that a large group will be quickly spotted, the stout elf is saying. True, Nyasa, Kanos replies. I will take only as many as needed. Oh no, Idas gasps. That means he'll never take us. The warlord Rorlis, Kanos continues, is an evil man, but not stupid. He realizes the value of keeping Estragon alive and well. We should have time to get to the castle before... Then he interrupts himself. How was he captured? He was traveling with his men through the Sotho Pass when Rorlis ambushed him. We think Sarlagath, the sorcerer, was helping, and Estragon is no magician. That's very true, Kanos says, then frowns. No wonder Rorlis is able to do such mischief. Salagarth was powerful years ago, but I hadn't heard about him for a long time. Ever since he and Rorlis killed King Urlar, our ally, we've had nothing but trouble from that area, so much so that the place is now called Nightmare Castle, Nyasa complains. The prince would like you to win back the castle from Rorlis if you can. I will make every effort, but rescuing Estragon is the first priority, Kanos says. It is a shame that Urlar died, and no one knows what happened to Queen Elisa. Yeah, it's a lot of exposition. So basically, we are a human child. We were raised by elves, and one of their elf buddies has been captured by some evil dude, and we're going to have to end up rescuing them. They're not all going on a raid, no, just us and probably some other dudes, some other people. The whole village, all the elves. That definitely won't look suspicious. It's like the Elven Jungle Book, yeah. It's all the weird names, that's what's confusing, I think. Idas races to his father, dragging you behind him. Father, can we attend you on this quest? He pants, sliding to a halt before the gray-cloaked Kanos. Staring down at the two of you, his clear gray eyes thoughtful, the magician frowns. Nyasa, minister to the prince, taps his foot, impatient at being interrupted. You quiver. This quest is what you've been dreaming of. Finally, Kanos speaks. Eidos, my son, despite your youth, you have been of great service to me. It is customary for an elf to wait until one is at least 50 before going on an adventure. Wow, that's a long time. Well, elves do age slowly, more slowly than humans, so I guess 50 wouldn't be out of the question. However, I will ask the prince to grant an exception in your case. Huzzah! Eidos skips around you. Do not make me regret my decision, son, Kinos warns. Eidos settles down immediately. What about Kial? He asks, suddenly sober. Kinos glances at you and shakes his head gently. It is but 7 years since we saved him from the wreck of the Noyal in Antilia Harbor. Kial's dying father gave him over to my care, and I cannot risk his life needlessly. You sag in despair. 7 years might be nothing to the 1,000-year-old Kinos, but that's over half your life so far. What? No. Surely you can be as useful as Eidos. Feelings overcome your respectful silence. Great Kinos, I know I am human and limited, but I'm still a cleric. I've learned some of your magic besides. I know I'm just a human. Limited humans. So lame. Elves are so much cooler. Kinos smiles kindly. Your clerical training ended when you were 6, and we have been able to teach you only a few simple spells. The amulet that your father passed on to you is powerful, to be sure, but you do not know all about its power. Your father was the great Djibouti, a patriarch known and respected by all, and you must give yourself time to follow in his footsteps. What a terrible Djibouti. Okay. What booty? Some kind of booty? I'm only human, born to make mistakes. Yeah, I'm trying my best, Stephanie, thank you. With a wave, he dismisses you and turns back to the minister. I will take only Eidos, he says, walking away, and I will leave my assistant, Jadis, in charge. That evening, bitter, you watch Eidos pack to leave. On his bed, he piles the clothes and maps he intends to take. He places his magic sword beside his pack on the bed, saying, We had planned to draw our weapons together. I will sorely miss having you beside me. It's not fair, you cry, holding your own elven staff tightly and blinking back tears. My magic is as strong as yours, and my arms are stronger, but I have to stay here with the children. It's not fair. Djibouti is a country. Djibouti, okay, you're right. So our father's name was Djibouti. Okay, makes sense. It's not fair. Eidos slowly folds a cloak into his bag. It's true that you are as good with your staff as I am with my sword. Perhaps father is worried that you might forget your magic abilities during the crush of battle. But I've trained with my amulet until he was satisfied, you say angrily, and I've practiced with the jewel of Kabak until I can set 2 dogs to fighting. Dogs are not orcs or goblins, Eidos replies, putting his hand on your shoulder. You jerk away, still upset. We are taking the jewel with us, but even I won't use it unless Kinos is unable to. It's not called the Jewel of Confusion for nothing, you know. If either of us should make a mistake while using it, we would scramble our own brains instead of confusing our enemies. It can be used safely only in a calm state of mind, and which of us could be calm while risking such danger? You look sharply at Eidos. And what about a training in intuition? Kinos said last week that I was getting to be as good as you. Yes, he said that. For a human, you have superior intuition. Oof, that's harsh. Eidos agrees. But you still can't hear or see as well as elves can, nor can you detect evil as well. It's like the elves are like racist against humans. Minor points, you mutter, sinking into a chair, and I still think you need more than 2 elves to fight a whole castle. Eidos stares at his feet, not wanting to make it worse by showing his excitement. Would you like me to leave Greypaw behind, he asks, nodding towards the sleek white whippet sleeping on the bed. At his name, the dog raises his head. Oh no, you don't, Greypaw says firmly, in a voice Kinos magically gave him. I'm not giving up this chance at adventure to babysit some human. Changing the subject quickly, you ask. I mean, it's got a talking dog. That's not bad. For a human, you are slightly less garbage. Yeah. Yeah, elves are super racist. It's like, it reminds me of, like the elves in Skyrim. Or pretty much elves in any, like, fantasy setting. Changing the subject quickly, you ask, isn't your father getting too old for adventures? His last quest was more than 400 years ago. Ida shrugs. When the great prince asks, you go. Besides, we're taking the jewel and my sword that glows whenever danger is near. We'll be well prepared to handle anything that tries to sneak up on us. Your gloom deepening, you mumble. I think I better get to bed. Have a good trip, Edis, and come back a hero. Smiling weakly, you add, try not to get killed. That would destroy the powers in your sword, and why spoil a good sword? Aren't you going to see us off tomorrow? He asks. You shake your head. It'll be too humiliating. I'll see you when you return. Realizing that you may never see him again, you shake his hand quickly and leave. When I was a kid, a gray paw. Yeah, even the talking dog is racist against humans. That is funny that the dog can talk, though. Okay. Entering your room, still absorbed in your struggle to accept Kanos' decision, you absently greet your hawk, Tailspin. Don't tell me the talk. Does the hawk talk too? Magically. The hawk cocks his head, regarding you quizzically, then suddenly starts soaring around the room upside down, a trick that usually makes you laugh. You strain to concentrate on his antics and try hard to smile. Tailspin, wasn't it like a cartoon called Tailspin, like a Disney cartoon? Oh man. Tailspin, I remember when you and I escaped from the Noyal. Your tail feathers were so badly singed that you couldn't fly straight. As I remember, you didn't look so good yourself, the hawk sniffs. He actually does talk. Settling as always on your shoulder. You smile, pleased as always that Kanos also gave your pet the ability to speak. Trying to relax, you reach for the sacred amulet. Holding it in both hands, you clear your mind. The deep green jewel, carved in an owl shape, glows with a warm light. You struggle to follow the path of the light to inner calm. Gradually, the pains of the world subside, and only a gray fog swirls in your mind. After a moment, the image of a lone rider appears, moving through the fog that soon takes the shape of harsh gray mountains. And a flash of insight, you recognize yourself. The vision disappears, and you open your eyes, smiling. Why not, you think? I can follow them until they let me come with them. You will, you must, disobey Kanos. Now here we are. Freckles and all. Why is our hand in our pocket? Like what? It's like a Napoleon thing? Did you have a green glowing owl pen when you were a kid? Mm-hmm. Yeah, finally a choice. Oh yeah, Tailspin, DuckTales. DuckTales, woo! If we decide to follow Kanos and Eidos, turn to page 117. If we decide to obey Kanos and stay home, turn to page 19. That probably means like it's the end of the story if we decide to stay home. Bouncing here and there and everywhere. I thought those were gummy bears. Maybe it was also Tailspin. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Follow them. Yeah, we must disobey Kanos, so we have to. Yeah, this is barely a choice. One hand in her pocket, the other is holding a peace sign. I got one hand in my pocket, and I'm gonna... Okay. So I guess we're following them, right? I mean, we're not gonna stay home. Well, we don't like adventures. 17. And these actually are page numbers, unlike the other books we've read. Disobey Giant. I still think you're going to be in big trouble. Your hawk's voice is harsh with worry. Listen, Tailspin, if I had stayed home, I'd be of no use to anyone. This way, at least I can still help Kanos and Eidos. The black hawk on your shoulder flaps his wings angrily, ruffling your hair. It's all very well for you, Master Keel, but Kanos is liable to turn me into a mouse. I'll be eaten by my own people. You chuckle softly and slowly rein in your horse. Grasping your staff securely, you feel for the amulet safely hidden under your shirt in a green silk bag hanging from a gold cord around your neck. The staff and amulet are the only weapons you carry, but you feel confident that they're enough. Gazing around, you stretch your tired arms. We should be nearing the pass of Ladris, you tell Tailspin. The road gets very rocky after that, according to Elven maps. I wonder if Kanos and Edus have gotten that far. After 2 days of following the caravan, you're not even sure how far ahead they are. The long grasses of the valley have given way to the brown scrub brush of the low hills. This is orc territory, and you're on the alert for roving bands of marauders. As a lone rider, you would make a good target. A chill wind sweeps down from the mountains ahead of you, and you shiver. The sun ducks in and out of the clouds as you search for signs of the elves' passage. Darn those elven eyes! If they couldn't see so far, I could keep a closer tail on Edos. Do you want me to fly ahead? No, it'd be just our luck that they'd recognize you. That insolent Greypaw certainly would. He's had it on me for a long time. You're lucky to have... Suddenly the clash of steel on steel rings thinly through the still morning air. Your horse shies, and you struggle to hold it down. Faint cries and shouts echo up from beyond the next hill, but you see nothing disturbing the peaceful scenery. Tailspin, there's a fight. I'd better go to help. What if it's not Kanos, but just some orcs fighting the natives? If you decide it's not your friends, and to keep out of the fight, turn to page 16. If you decide that it is the elves, and you ride forward to help, turn to page 31. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Ladris? I barely noticed. Oh, man. Ladris. Oh, man. I don't know how you pronounce these. Ladris or Ladris or what? The book said we just should go help, so we should probably go help. Yeah, they're probably not our friends. Not anymore. There's our... Is he supposed to be a crow? He doesn't really look like a crow. I don't know. Huh. I do like the artwork. So should we go help? Probably should, right? What if it is some orcs? Like, wouldn't we be able to tell if it's orcs though? I guess they're too far away to hear their voices. Should we just like stay out of it? You like the artwork? Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it's better artwork than I've seen in other books. That is a falcon, which is not a crow. Yeah, it said earlier that it was a crow. I thought that's a crow falcon. I mean, it's D&D, so maybe it's like some kind of like magical half crow, half falcon. Oh, the orcs don't travel during the day. You're probably right, Rachel. All right, I guess we'll charge into battle. Ride forward to help. Page 31. We traveled a long way just to help Kanos and Edos. We're not going to risk failing them now, you tell the hawk. Spurring your horse on, you race towards the sound of battle. It takes nearly an hour of hard galloping to reach the pass of Ladris, where a small army of orcs have beset the party. From the side of the pass, more orcs are pouring through to reinforce their ranks. With a yell, you ride into the battle. Swinging your staff fiercely, you finally reach Edos, who is pinned against the rock wall by 10 orcs. Hold on, you shout. I'm right here. Keol, your friend gasps, desperately striking at the wild horde around him. Where did you come from? We said we were going to raise our weapons together, didn't we? You yell happily, but a new group of orcs keeps you from saying more. Man, how many orcs are there? You do your best to rescue Edos, but more of the evil creatures push you away, and soon you are also surrounded. Feinting and blocking with your staff, you manage to avoid the roughest blows. You realize that the orcs are not fighting as fiercely as they could be, since several have missed easy chances to stab you. You wonder if they have orders not to kill you. But as you are knocked down, you decide that they want to give you a few good whacks anyways. Struggling to your feet, you see Kanos off to your left. Blood is seeping from his left arm, and he is being held by 2 tall orcs carrying heavy wooden clubs. Yikes. Infinite orcs. It's like that video game Gauntlet where like they keep coming from like those monster generators. I wish the orcs would stop us from talking more often. A Krolcon. Half crow, half falcon. Here we are. Getting attacked by orcs. I guess that is our friend Edos, and there we are, charging to the rescue, since we're holding a staff. Alright. Kinos, don't give up! I'll be right there, you cry, but he gives no sign of hearing. Suddenly, Greypaw leaps at one of the orc guards, snarling and biting. A swift blow with a thick club knocks the dog aside, and the orcs pull the strangely quiet Kanos away. Tailspin flies down into Kanos' face, calling, "Wake up, great Kanos!" But the elf shows no recognition. A sharp knock on the head sends you down to the ground, dazed. By the time your vision clears, Edos is surrendering. He drops his sword to the ground and raises his hands. Quick as a flash, Greypaw grabs the sword and runs off, before the orcs can react. Screaming, a couple of them run after him. "Run, Greypaw!" Edos yells as the orcs roughly tie his hands against his sides. After a minute, the two orcs come back empty-handed. Greypaw has escaped, but you and your friends are prisoners. The orcs make you stand up, and then they bind you tightly. They check you for valuables, but in their haste, they miss the amulet. They leave you the small bag on your belt, which only carries flint for making fires. "We bring them in alive," the orc leader warns. "You have your orders." Cursing yourself for being of no use to your friends, you are led away with them. You notice the orcs have not taken the flint on the elves' belts either, and you hope the jewel of Kaibok is safely hidden in Kanos' bag. The only good news is that the orcs have left your staff behind, thinking it is an ordinary stick. Now, if only Tailspin will see it and pick it up. Yeah, Greypaw he's like the most competent of us, and he's a dog. Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, concussions, not so bad. Just keep playing. It's fine. Just shrug it off. You'll be okay. No permanent damage. You march over the rough road, pushed and poked by your snaring captors. Kanos is up front, and Edos is close behind you. Amidst the orcs' raucous laughter, Edos' low tones go unnoticed, except by you. Kanos was unable to speak or move his arms. That must be a powerful magician working with the orcs, Edos tells you. I'm afraid it might be the evil sorcerer Mykros, the demon. Oh, that sounds scary. He's supposed to be in the east, but I know of no other who could affect Kanos this way. I fear all is lost. Maybe not, you whisper, trying desperately to think of some way to help your friends, and yourself. For 3 days you are shoved and prodded along the road. The orcs are in a hurry, and you are harried mercilessly. They occasionally toss small bits of meat at you for meals, but you are afraid to eat it, not sure of whose flesh it is. Whose flesh it is, yikes. The animals have disappeared, but Edos whispers that he's sure he's seen Tailspin, hovering not far away, that he's holding your staff. Your relief at your friend's safety helps you to keep going. The road crests the top of a hill and starts down, making the going a bit easier. Finally, you arrive at the orc stronghold, a cave hidden within a clump of trees. The horses are led to another cave not far away. After stumbling along dark tunnels, you are untied and shoved into a small dungeon, but your captors drag Edos and Kanos away. Trying to think of a good way to help your friends. That would be a good place. That would be a good place for a choice, Stephanie. I agree. Mykros. Was it Mykros or? It was. It doesn't matter. It was something silly like that. I voted for Kanos. Alone and miserable, you stand in the middle of the dungeon, afraid to touch anything. The walls are slick with dripping water, and you can barely see your hand in front of your face. One of the orcs appears at the door, threatening you with a large axe. You struggle to appear calm, but you shiver in fear, waiting to be killed at any moment. "Don't hurt him," the chief orc says, laughing. "Leave him be. He is of no use to us. The elves are to be brought to the master." The sound of their footsteps fades down the tunnel. Separated from your friends, you sit down, not touching the walls, exhausted and hungry. Maybe Kanos was right. Tailspin and Greypaw were more help than you were. You blink back tears as you try to think of some way to save your friends. As confused and depressed thoughts pour into your mind, you fall into an uneasy sleep. Please turn to page 47, and hope there's a choice coming up soon. And there's not. Okay, here we are, still in the dungeon. We're sort of doing something. We got to turn the page. Those orcs are going to eat us pretty soon. Yeah, Steve Jobs, that's what they would name the demon. Micros, the demon. An odd rustling sound snaps you awake. This is no time to be sleeping, a familiar voice whispers. Tailspin, how did you find me? He didn't. I sniffed you out. He'd have been lost without me. Greypaw's voice floats out of the darkness. Wait, did Greypaw and Tailspin have using the exact same voice because they're both given their voices magically? So they just both use the same voice? That must be confusing. Wait a minute. Who kept bumping into the walls? Stop it, you two. This is no time for feuds. We've got to find a way to get me out of here. I stole the keys from the guard's table, and he didn't even see me, Greypaw says. Thank you. Now give me the keys. We also brought your staff. Figured you'd need it, Greypaw says. By the way, it looks like Micros, the demon... It is like Micros, okay. Micros, the demon, is behind all this trouble. As I waited at the entrance to the cave, I heard the orcs mention him. I suppose something like that was the case, you say. Canis would never be overcome by a few orcs. Even more interesting, Greypaw says, is that Micros seems to be in league with Roarless. The orcs were talking about his trips to the big castle in the mountains, and that's going to be Nightmare Castle. Well, we finally have Nightmare Castle. Yeah, all animal voices sound the same. We were animal racist. An odd wrestling sound. Yeah, that would have been, wow, this is getting interesting. Okay, wrestling sounds. Then we really have to get out of here fast, you say. No telling what Micros intends to do with us. Greypaw leads the way down the pitch-black tunnel. Now is your chance to show Kanos that he needs you. Excitement churns in your stomach as you search for an idea, any idea. But since you have no notion of what to expect, nothing comes to mind. After what seems forever, you reach a half-open door and peer around it into a room well lit with torches. Eidos and Kanos are chained to the wall in an alcove. Kanos' left arm has been bound with a white cloth. It looks as if he's asleep, and Eidos is struggling to keep his eyes open. That's more than mere exhaustion, you decide. It must be a very strong spell that holds them. There's a door on the opposite wall of the room, and through it you can hear orcs laughing and talking. A small lamp burns on a table in the big room, and chains of various sizes hang empty on each wall. Silently you creep into the alcove, motioning the animals to stay behind. Keel, Eidos whispers. They'll be back soon. You must get back to our village. Kanos half wakens and shakes his head, his eyes full of pain. I don't think he agrees with you. I don't think he agrees with you, you tell Eidos. Kanos lowers his head and stares at his belt. I think he wants you to take the jewel of Kaibok, Eidos whispers. Can you use it on Micros? You slip the jewel from the bag on Kanos' belt. The ruby, blood red, is set in a twisted gold armband and surrounded by ice blue gems. The beauty of it is quite deceptive. It is a powerful magical item that, properly used, can cause one's enemies to turn and fight one another, but it can be very dangerous in the hands of a novice. Both you and Eidos have trained with it, but you were always a little afraid, and he is better than you. He is just better than you. Eidos is just better than us. Yeah, Eidos, you're just better. In every way, of course. Eidos sees your conflict and says gently, I too would be afraid to use the jewel. If you cannot, I will not blame you. Save Estragon, Kanos gasps, fighting against the spell that saps his power. Eidos glances over at his father, then back at you. He wants you to rescue Estragon. And there's no time to lose, he says. Yeah, I think we just heard him say that. He's just said, save Estragon. I think we can figure out what he means by that. But I can't leave you here, you cry softly. You must, Eidos replies, and you can't fight Micros with only your staff. But Greypaw says Micros is working with Roarless. You say that 3 times fast. You say worriedly. Even more reason to go, Eidos gasps, his resistance to the spell weakening. With us captured, Roarless won't expect someone to try to rescue Estragon. You look at the elf you have come to respect through the years since he rescued you, and you know that you can't do less than he expects of you. Now turn to page 25. A strong spell known as a club to the back of the head. Can't fight that? Okay, now we're going to page 25. Maybe there'll be some choices now on page 25. Ooh, I see some choices here. Okay. If Kanos trusts me to save Estragon, then I can't ignore his wishes. I'll go, but only because he insists. I promise I'll be back to rescue you, Eidos, no matter what you say. gripping your friend's arm. You place the jewel securely in a bag hanging from your belt. I'll guide you out of here, but I'm staying with my master, Greypaw says. Who needs you? We'll find our own way out, Tailspin squawks at him. Quiet, both of you, you snap. With one last look at Edos, you hurry back down the dark tunnel, holding a torch that you grab from a bracket. Suddenly, the tunnel branches into 3 parts. You know, if we were an elf, we would have dark vision, so we wouldn't need a torch. I'm surprised Edos didn't say that to us as we left. It's like, you don't need a torch? Oh, you're just a human. Yeah, you do need a torch. Okay. I can smell something strange in the left tunnel, Greypaw reports, but also fresh air. There's light at the end of the right tunnel, Tailspin says. I think we came in through the middle tunnel, but I'm not sure, you tell them. So if we decide to take the left tunnel, turn to page 55. I can't keep track of all these dudes. Yeah, like hopefully, well, now we left Edos and Kanos behind, so we won't hear about them too much anymore for a while. So the left tunnel, that's where there's fresh air and light. And, oh no, sorry, there's something strange in the left tunnel, but fresh air on the left tunnel. Then the right tunnel, there's light. And then middle tunnel is where we came from. So we do take the left tunnel towards something that smells funny, 55. We take the right tunnel towards the light. Yeah, right. And middle. I guess that's going back the way we came. When do they get to Mount Doom? Hopefully soon. We think we came in through the middle tunnel. We'd go back to the middle tunnel. I think the middle tunnel is where they had us imprisoned. Go right, it's the future. Yeah. Okay, Beth. Smiley tunnel, that would be the left tunnel. Right tunnel would also be towards light. It's fresh air. I mean, if there's light, wouldn't it also be fresh air? Alright, I guess we'll go towards the light. Or smelly. Yeah, I guess we'll do the right tunnel. A light means it's not far to the outside, you say. If it's daylight, I've lost track of time. Let's try the tunnel on the right. You edge towards the light, hoping your boots crunching on gravel can't be heard by anyone. Greypaw and Tailspin stay behind you. The tunnel is not long. The light gets brighter as you near the end. The light is coming from underneath the door. You hear the murmur of many voices. Holding your breath, you ease the door open and peer in. It is a large room, lit with many torches and full of orcs. Many are sitting, but some are walking around, talking and arguing. Finally, one orc leaps onto a table and motions for silence. Listen, you bums! That doesn't sound like something an orc would say. He begins. You shut the door quickly and hurry back the way you came. This is not the right tunnel. What? It is the right tunnel, though. Oh, I get it. It's the right tunnel, but it's not the right tunnel. Go back to page 25 and choose again. Yeah, the book's not even trying. One of the choices, it tells you to go back and choose something else. All right. So it said this is not the right tunnel, but okay. So I guess we should choose the left tunnel? Left tunnel then? You fool of a took. What is this book trying to do? I don't know. So if we take the left tunnel, we'll say like we have nothing left or something. Put pressure not to do these. Yeah. It seemed like, it was getting close to Halloween, so like, Nightmare Castle sounds good. The art looks good. All right, so we'll take the left tunnel. Unless anyone... A little smell can't hurt us, you say. The air must mean we can get outside. Waving the animals ahead of you, you tiptoe down the left tunnel. Soon you get a whiff of the strange smell. It reminds you of fungus and moldy wood. Whew, you whisper. Hope we don't run into a giant mushroom. Worse than that, Greypaw yelps. It's... His voice is cut off suddenly. You move forward with the torch and stare into the hairy face of a giant spider. Beside it, a huge web fills the tunnel. Graypaw, like an oversized fly, is struggling in the sticky strands. The spider quickly weaves a cocoon around Graypaw's body. Before you can believe your eyes, the spider has attached the white bundle that was Graypaw to the wall. He's right, it's worse, you moan. Poor Graypaw. Saddened and angry, you thrust your flaming torch at the spider. Instantly, it whips a sticky white strand around the torch and pulls it from your grasp. Go for help, you yell at Tailspin, striking at the spider with your staff. The spider leaps away, then darts around you, laying strands of web on your shoulders and arms. When you try to fight, the sticky fibers cling to your staff, and soon you too are wrapped in a thick white blanket. As the spider attaches your cocoon to the wall, you hope that Tailspin can find help quickly. Otherwise, this is the end. All right. Well, I guess we're taking the middle passage then. The book told us it was the middle. Just tells us the answers. Book basically just tells us what to do. All right, go back the way we came. Like Shelob killed him. Okay. The middle tunnel looks slightly familiar, you say. Let's take it. Creeping through puddles of stagnant water, you can hear your own breathing, and you hope no one else can. Graypaw slinks warily ahead of you, and Tailspin brings up the rear. Finally, you can feel a fresh breeze blowing in. We're almost out, you whisper. Then you won't be needing me, Graypaw answers. I'll be waiting with my master for your return, Kial. Remember your promise. I'll be back as soon as I can get help, you reply. You can count on that. It's a clear night as you emerge from the cave's entrance. Telling Tailspin to look for your horse among the others, you creep quietly through the bushes concealing the cave. No guards are in sight, and you breathe a sigh of relief. Tailspin returns to say your horse is nearby in a field right next to the cave. It looks as if it found the only patch of decent grass around here, Tailspin says. Moving quickly but quietly, you mount the horse. You know the Sothel Mountains and Nightmare Castle are north of here, so you point your horse in that direction, using a special star as a guide. You ride across the field and down into a valley, your heart racing as you wonder what lies ahead. In the light of the crescent moon, you can see fairly well. The lush grass and the white meadow flowers are beautiful, but many patches of burned ground and withered foliage give evidence of the orc's destructive passing. No animals or birds can be seen, and you suspect that they have fled or been killed. After a time, the desolate patches grow fewer, and you feel grateful to be even this far removed from danger from the orcs. It's late evening of the second day before you see any signs of civilization. A small town appears in the distance, and you halt as Tailspin flies ahead to check it out. Tiny weathered cottages are scattered across the flat land between the mountains. What do you think? You ask the hawk when he returns from his check. Is it safe here? It's far enough from the orcs, if that's what you mean, Tailspin replies. I saw a church down the road. You might ask directions there. Maybe they'll have a place to stay, too. We both could use a rest, he says warily. Good idea. This would be a good place to have a choice, too, where we could be like, do we want to stay and rest there, or do we want to keep going? Good idea, you say, spurring your horse on. You arrive at the little church at dusk, and a small, thin man appears at the door. His faded brown robe reveals him to be a practicing cleric, and his squinty eyes attest to long hours of reading. Tailspin should just save himself. So I'm getting out of here. Going back home. See you later. I thought it was tough, but I couldn't handle a raid. Alright. The church itself seems to be in bad repair, with flaking whitewash and dirty windows. But the cleric doesn't look as if he has the strength to do heavy cleaning, or money to pay someone else to do it. You wonder what kind of guidance he can give this little town. But then you remember the orcs. They probably keep him to warn them of danger, you whisper to Tailspin, who's now perched on your staff. I'm Alfred. Alfred, the cleric says. Welcome to North Fork. Will you share my supper? You accept, eager for some hot food. After stabling your horse, he leads you through a long, one-story house, almost empty of furniture, but full of dust. A hall ends in a small, dark kitchen. Eyeing the pot on the dirty hearth doubtfully, You remove your cloak and ease yourself into a rickety chair in the corner. Tailspin perches on the top of the back door and promptly closes his eyes. "What brings you to our little village?" Alfred asks, watching you very intently. Uncomfortable under his scrutiny, you say quickly, "We were just traveling in the mountains." You wonder why you don't tell him everything. It occurs to you that he might be able to help free your companions, but you keep silent. "I've heard the mountains are dangerous," he says, still watching you. Shrugging, you nibble at the bread he offers. "Yes, some say it is a good idea to travel armed in the highlands," he continues, moving quickly to prepare a supper of stewed red meat and vegetables that you don't have the courage to refuse. While eating, he encourages you to tell him more about your journey. You pick at the greasy food, eating as little as possible without appearing rude. Alfred doesn't seem to notice. He explains that he doesn't get much news in this place. He does hang on your every word, you think, as you try to construct a story that doesn't tell too much. This sounds like Stranger Danger. It sounds like Stranger Danger to me too. Like I don't know, this Alfred guy, I'm getting bad vibes about this. After supper, the cleric excuses himself to lock up the church. "I'll find you some place to sleep for the night when I return," he says. The moment he is gone, Tailspin's eyes pop open. "Let's get out of here," he says. "What? What's the matter?" "Our friend isn't saying all he knows," the bird replies. My bet is that we don't last through the night." "Don't be ridiculous," you scoff. "He's just lonely for company. Besides, it's starting to rain." "We have a better chance against the rain than against him," the hawk says. "Come on, Master Keall, please." If you decide to sleep at the cleric's house, turn to page 56. If we are feeling really a lot of stranger danger and we decide to leave, turn to page 70. Yeah, I agree. I think Tailspin's spidey sense is tingling. Yeah. I mean, it just seems a little weird that he's like eyeing us like very intently and like wants to know everything that's going on. It's like very like prying and asking a lot of questions. And it's like, dude, step back a little bit. Leave. Yeah, I think we're gonna leave. Page 70. "Perhaps you're right. He does seem a bit strange," you say to Tailspin. Reluctantly, you gather up your cloak. You sneak out the back door with the hawk close behind you and retrieve your horse from the stable. Silently, you ride through the drizzle, looking for a dry place to sleep. Most of the cottages are dark, and you hesitate to disturb the occupants, any of whom might be in league with Alfred. When you are soaked to the skin, Tailspin points out a large gray barn set back from the road. Tying your horse out of sight and grabbing your pack, you creep in and look around. The ground floor is swept clean, but a ladder leads to a large loft filled with hay. Removing your wet clothing, you spread it out and pull some dry things from your pack. Tailspin flies up to a thick wooden beam above you and settles down to sleep. You fashion yourself a bed and are about to fade off when a sneeze breaks the silence. Grabbing your staff, you cry, "Who's there?" For a moment there is silence, then a small man emerges from the hay. Looking more closely, you see that he's a halfling. Reddish hair like yours sticks up all over his head, and he's dressed in long underwear. He's trying to look fierce, but you know he's scared. His arm trembles as he grips a small dagger, and there's sweat on his face, even though it's a cool night. "If you mean me harm, I will defend myself," he threatens. "I only want to get a good night's sleep." Believing him, you decide he's no danger to you and beckon him closer. "Who are you? Where are you from?" you ask gently. With reluctance, he answers, "I'm Bormer. I come from a castle in the Sothel Mountains. I ran away." "That's where I'm going," you say. "Are you crazy?" he cries. "You'll only get yourself killed." "I probably will," you admit, "but I have to do it anyway." Briefly, you explain your quest. "You must be careful of the warlord Rorless," he cautions. "Although he himself is not a magician, he has the evil sorcerer Salagarth working for him." You spend much of the night listening to Bormer. Or Boringmer, am I right? No. No, he's not boring, I'm just kidding. You spend much of the night listening to Bormer. Tailspin listens sleepily from his perch on the beam as the halfling reveals some of the dangers within the castle, which he also calls Nightmare Castle. He explains a hidden doorway on the side of the castle and gives you the key which he stole to escape. He cautions you that the sorcerer has a spell on the room Estragon is in, causing it to move around from time to time. Interesting, okay. Orlus is taking great pains to make sure his hostage is not recaptured, he says. The room can appear in any one of 5 empty rooms throughout the castle. I don't know which ones. It takes a lot of energy to move it, apparently, because Salagarth does it only once in a while. Is there any way I'll recognize it? Only the hard way, he replies. When you run into the guards or booby traps, it's always protected by one or the other. I'll remember that, you promise. Orlus doesn't have a lot of guards, Bormer says, but Salagarth has laid many traps for the unwary. Never rush into anything. He continues to give you advice into the wee hours of the morning. The next day, tired but happy, you thank him and ride off. 2 weeks of hard riding later, you're in the shadow of the great Nightmare Castle. The sight sends chills up and down your spine. The entrance to the castle is shaped like an enormous skull with an open mouth for the door. It seemed more like the door was in the nose, but okay. You shudder to think of walking through that mouth to get inside. Tailspin, perched before you on the horse's head, squawks, I've seen all I need to. Let's go home. Shh, you warn him softly. I said I would try to rescue Estragon, and try I will. Reaching inside your shirt, you finger the bag holding your amulet, and you relax slightly. Feeling for the jewel of Kaibok in the bag on your belt, you wonder if you'll ever find the courage to use it. Pushing the thought from your mind, you begin your search for Estragon. The castle's black walls blend in the gray rock of the mountain, and the bridge leading to the main gate looks treacherous, especially after you discover that a large red dragon guards the main door. Okay. That's nothing, I guess. On your guard for the soldiers that Bormer said might be around, you study the castle. Small windows dot the front wall, and a tower at the other end pokes into the clouds. A small field to the left holds several grazing horses. There seems to be no other entrance, but Bormer says there was a hidden side door, so you search the mountain cliff carefully. You finally discover a narrow, ledge-like trail cut into the mountain, leading to the side of the castle. Following it, you reach a small wooden door. This must be the hidden entrance that Bormer described, you say. He forgot to mention how small it was, Tailspin replies. You decide to leave all your supplies on the horse, figuring you won't be in the castle very long. But you bring your staff, the amulet, and the jewel. Using Bormer's key, you unlock the door and walk, stooping, through the 4-foot-high tunnel, with Tailspin following. Soon the ceiling rises to 6 feet, high enough for you to stand. I guess we can assume that whatever uses this route is pretty harmless, you whisper. Oh, I don't know. A 4-foot-wide snake could be pretty nasty, Tailspin replies. You shudder at the thought. The hall leads to a large room filled with books and old furniture. A large table fills the center of the room. A large slate fireplace has unburned wood stacked in it, but the lamps are empty. The only light comes from an open window to your right. Dust lies thick on everything. We won't find Estragon in here, you comment, heading for the door on the opposite wall. You step cautiously out into another hall, swinging back inside the room when you see a halfling walking towards you. You half close the door and peek out, watching the halfling. He doesn't appear to have seen you. You're not sure what to do. If you hide, you might miss a chance to get valuable information, but if you show yourself and the halfling alerts the guards, you'll be in deep trouble. The halfling is nearing your room. You have to make a decision, fast. We decide to hide in the room, turn to page 86. If we prefer to talk to the halfling, turn to page 66. And man, there is a lot of words in this book and not a lot of choices, so I really thought there'd be more choices here. Talk to the halfling. Hide. Rachel says talk. Stephanie says hide. Does anyone else think we should either talk or hide? Guess. What does Tailspin want to do? Just do whatever Tailspin tells us to do. I don't think Tailspin said anything. I wish they had, and then we just do whatever they want us to do. I guess we'll try talking to the halfling. Salesman wants to go home. Yeah, he already told us what he wanted to do. All right. That halfling might know where Estragon is, you whisper, as you peer through the half-closed door. And if he's as unhappy as Bormer was, he might tell us. Waiting until the halfling enters, you slip behind him and close the door. He whirls around, frightened. Who are you? He croaks hoarsely. Motioning him to be quiet, you hold up a key. A halfling who once worked here. His name's Bormer, gave this to me. I know him, the halfling exclaims. I'm glad to help any friend of his. My name is Sim, and I'm at your service. Do you know where the elf Estragon is, you ask? He shakes his head regretfully. Then he brightens. But I do know that Master Rorless keeps his most prized possession, a magic potion, and a tower on the castle's north side. What good is a magic potion, you ask, disappointed. It must have some worth or you wouldn't have valued it so highly, Sim replies. Now you must leave, for the master will be here any minute. Following his directions, you sneak down the hall, past several closed doors, then up 2 flights of tower steps. You pause at the landing to look around. The upstairs hall turns a corner ahead of you, and there's an unlocked door to your right, which you open cautiously. Several brooms stand in the small closet, but nothing else. It must be around the corner, you say. Tailspin flies ahead, calling back. Looks like it's all clear. Oops! He scoots back to you as loud barking echoes down the stairs. There's a door all right, with a very large dog guarding it, he says. Sim forgot to mention him, you comment wryly. Probably some relative of that miserable Greypaw, the hawk grumbles. The barking stops, replaced by noisy sniffing. I don't know if I want the potion that much, you murmur. Is he chained? I didn't have time to look, Tailspin replies. With our luck, that dog would have magical powers. If you decide to get the potion, turn to page 142. If we decide to give up and look elsewhere for Estragon, turn to page 89. So do you want to try getting that potion from a barking dog? You'll be like, no, we don't want the potion. Get the potion? So Rachel wants to get the potion. Anyone else think we should get the potion? Potion. Do it. Alright, we're getting the potion. Seems like we're finally getting more choices now, finally. If the potion is that well guarded, it must be worth having, you say thoughtfully. See if you can distract the dog. And Tailspin flies warily off. A moment later, the hawk comes whizzing back around the corner, pursued by a huge dark wolfhound. As the two race past, you move swiftly around the corner to a large door with a handle but no lock. Rorless has a lot of confidence in that dog, you think, pulling up the smooth iron latch. The door creaks open and you tiptoe in, watching for booby traps. The room is tiny, about 5 feet by 7 feet, with one small window that gives little light. The stone walls are hung with large tapestries, and several small tables are cluttered with knickknacks. Trembling in your haste, you sort through the jumble of objects, not sure what you're looking for. Kinos kept all his potions in clear vials, but there's no guarantee that the warlord does the same. A tiny green bottle catches your eye, and you pick it up. The label reads, Potion of Power. Drink me and be great. If you want to drink the potion to become great, quote unquote, and fight the warlord, turn to page 120. If you want to take it with you to use later, turn to page 124. So should we drink the potion right now to become great? Or do you want to use it later? Yeah, why do we need to know how many feet the room is? 2 choices in a row. Yeah, it's awesome. It really does say that. Potion of Power, drink me and be great. It's like something from Alice in Wonderland. You know, like drink me. Use later. So 1 vote for drink it now. 1 vote for use it later. Anyone else think we should drink it now or use it later? You're stealing everyone's ideas. I know. I read Alice in Wonderland once and it had a bottle that said "Drink me." Let's do that. Well, she is a poet, so that makes sense. Drink me and be great was also the motto for Four Loko. Should we drink it now? Use later? Alright, I think we'll just drink it now, see what happens. This potion is just what I need to fight Rorless, you decide. You uncap the bottle and drink deeply. Nothing happens for a minute, and you're disappointed, but you attempt to pick up the small table and discover it only takes one hand. I must be stronger, you cry, but strangely enough the table is shrinking. Or is it? You glance around the room and discover that you're growing. Oh no, you cry. Great meant big, not strong, your voice booms out, rattling the windows. Within minutes you are too big to get out of the door. You have to duck to avoid the ceiling, and your feet are knocking over the tables. Frightened, you tuck yourself into a ball, with your face near the door. You watch as the wolfhound returns. It sniffs the open door, then catches sight of you. Yelping, tucks its tail between its legs and streaks off. In a couple of minutes, Tailspin flies up the stairs, calling your name. You call back, but your gigantic voice sounds like an explosion. Tailspin alights and sees your enormous eye peering out the door. Ah! He cries. A monster's eaten Keel! My poor master! Squawking, he flies away. Squeezed painfully into the cramped room, you hope the potion wears off before Rorless comes back to get it for himself. Perhaps you drank too much. The end. Okay. I guess we'll save it for later then. I better not take any chances, you decide, and you pocket the bottle. Tailspin flies up a moment later. That was close, he exclaims. I had to dig my claws into stone and pretend to be a torch bracket. Before that, I almost lost my tail feathers to that silly dog. Not again, you laugh. It's not funny, he retorts. Listen, as I was flying down the hall, I heard loud voices from the top of a staircase. It could be trouble. Or could be Estragon, you say. Lead the way. Tailspin guides you down a long hall ending at a staircase. Creeping up the steps, you come to the open door of a large tower room, filled with fine furniture. You peer cautiously in and see a heavy-set man with a black beard arguing with a tall elf. You step back into the hall and whisper to Tailspin, I think it's Estragon and Rorless. Well, I hope so. Then, taking a chance, you turn and creep into the room. You study Rorless carefully as you edge towards a table near an open window. The warlord is wearing dark green pants and a matching jacket, the jacket open to accommodate his massive chest. His gleaming black boots have obviously been polished diligently. A pearl-handled sword and a jewel-encrusted scabbard hangs from his wide belt. He must have spent years collecting, or robbing, to gather such finery. With his gray-flecked hair, he looks older than Estragon, but you know that the elf has lived for many generations. If you let me have the weapon, Estragon, I will give your daughter a room as comfortable as yours, the warlord bargains, instead of that cold, rat-ridden dungeon where she has to sleep on the stones. No, replies Estragon. It's too powerful to be in your hands, Rorless. You can't sway me by torturing my daughter. Now is the time, you think. How do I distract him? You know if you try to fight, Rorless will probably kill you. Desperately, you glance around the room, then out the window, looking for inspiration. Then you grin. You've got an idea. Excuse me, you break in, and the warlord turns, angry at being interrupted. You hold the bottle out the window, as if you're going to drop it. How much is this magic potion worth? Rorless pales and takes a step towards you, but you quickly warn him. I'll drop it if you come any closer. As Rorless hesitates, Estragon spins him around and sends him flying with a strong punch. Not giving the warlord a chance to unsheath his sword, the elf jumps him. They roll around the floor in a mighty struggle. You can only stand and watch, which is kind of what we've been sort of doing this whole book, is just watching as stuff happens. In your excitement, you almost knock over a tall pitcher on the table, but you catch it in time. For a moment, Estragon rocks back, momentarily stunned, and you watch in horror as Rorless jumps up, his hand on the sword in his belt. Quickly grab the pitcher, step behind the warlord, and hit him as hard as you can. He falls to the floor, groaning. Good work, young man, Estragon says. Did you come here alone to rescue me? What about my daughter and my troops in the dungeon? There are others in the dungeon? Rorless only mentioned your daughter, you say, surprised. You tell him what happened to Kanos and Eidos, explaining that you didn't know about the other elves. Estragon listens as he ties the warlord securely and drags him to his feet. Forcing Rorlis to show you the way, you proceed quickly down the stairs towards the dungeon, all the while telling your tale. At the opening to a dark tunnel, Rorlis stops. "The dungeon is this way," he says, "but you'll just have needless trouble if your troops see me too soon. Tie me up, and I'll wait for you here." "Shall I fly ahead and check it out, Master Keol?" Tailspin asks. "No, wait a moment," you say. Your intuition tells you Rorlis is being less than honest. Suspiciously, you take out your amulet, the dark green, owl-shaped gemstone that glows with a warm inner light. Asking Estragon to wait, you gaze into the gem and let your mind follow the light as you concentrate on the truth. Suddenly, in your mind's eye, you see a gruesome blob of black jelly oozing along a dark hall. The bones of its victim are scattered on the floor. "He's lying," you say. "There's a black blob down that hall, waiting to destroy us." Rorlis pales as you speak, and Estragon turns to him angrily. "I warn you, Rorlis, do not lie to me a second time." A gruesome blob. Come on. Cold, rat-ridden dungeon. Thank you not to refer to Princeton that way. "Now, Rorlis," Estragon says, "direct us to where you've hidden our weapons, and remember the consequences of lying." Rorlis gives you a glance, and you try to look fierce. Apparently convinced of your power, the warlord leads you quickly to the weapons storeroom. Estragon's elves, now fully armed, spread out to take control of the castle. Then you ask Estragon's help in rescuing your friends. "I'll go with you myself," he says, smiling. "I'll leave Michelina in charge of the castle and send Rorlis, with some of my men, back to my village for trial." And so, with the legendary leader at your side, you set off to rescue Eidos and Kanos. So we didn't even actually have a scene where we were reunited with them. We just... And we never, like, they say, like, Michelina, like, we're supposed to know who that is. Okay. Alright, well, we never got to use that potion. Didn't even have, like, a choice to use it. I thought we'd, like, maybe be able to use it later to escape. Well, there was sure a lot of reading to be done in this book. Yeah, I wish there had been more choices in this book. I really was hoping there were. I mean, the story itself was decent, but just, like, could have used more choices. You know? Yeah, I don't know. I keep giving these books a chance, and then, like...
Dude, I'm not gonna let you.
Yeah, I'm not... I think from now on, if I'm going to read any of these, I'm going to, like, read a bit of it.
Nope.
No. Okay. I did like I liked a lot of the ideas of, like, having the Tailspin and Greypaw, having them be able to talk. That was cool. Huh. Someone used a page from a TV Guide as a bookmark. I can tell because it looks like it had Showtime and HBO. SHO and then HBO. Well, I did order some more Choose Your Own Adventure books, so we should have a better selection there. Let's see. I do have this Doctor Who Choose Your Own Adventure book. Might be interesting. And then let's see here. Got this Struggle Down Under. It's, guess you go to Australia, so there's that. And then I also have this one here, Wizards, Warriors, and You. You can either be a wizard or a warrior. That actually does have more choices in it, but it's more like a Dungeons & Dragons type book. Now this was interesting. Yeah, it was like the same story, but you chose at the beginning whether you wanted to play as the wizard or the warrior, and then yeah. So either of these, the Doctor Who one or the Struggle Down Under, Stephanie? Yeah, the Doctor Who one's interesting. It was a Find Your Fate book. It definitely has some choices. If you're familiar with Doctor Who, you can see that's the Sixth Doctor, and apparently K9 is with him, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because like K9 was not on the show when the Sixth Doctor was there, so I don't understand that. But I don't think we play as K9 though, so at least I think we play as the Doctor's assistant. And then this is a new one that I just got, and yeah, so all I know is that you're in Australia because it's called Struggle Down Under, and you're in Australia. I think. I don't know. But 100%. So yeah, maybe we'll go with this one, and I would like to read this Doctor Who one at some point. If well, anyways, but yeah. So, and then yeah, this might be interesting to read at some point. Give that a shot. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give these books a break. There's just like way too much reading to do. Yeah, the twist is that we never go to Australia. I mean, it doesn't actually say anything about Australia here. It talks about Uncle Gilroy, an amulet to the ancient civilization of Satyrion. There's nothing about actually going to. Whoa, this is like giving like a preview here. Oh yeah, Australian desert. Okay, so we are yeah. So we actually oh, this is the new Choose Your Own Adventure series. They actually did a new series where they bought the rights to the Choose Your Own Adventure trademark actually. Like it wasn't trademarked, and it was then they created this new company, ChooseCo. Yeah, because it says visit us online at cyoa.com. So obviously, that wouldn't be something from the 80s. And now they have like cards in it or something. It's kind of cool. Oh, maybe you get to use the cards during the game. Oh, okay, that's interesting. All right, like puts a little bit of a twist on it. But it's still the same people that are doing it. I think it's like R.A. Montgomery. Huh. Anyways, yeah. So there are some options here. We never even went through the nose door. I know. We just went through the. I guess. Yeah, I guess that to me that looked like the nose, but I guess that was the mouth. All right. Well, anyways, sorry we didn't have enough choices in this book. You know, but yeah, I think I'll give that a rest, and then I will be back next Tuesday, and maybe we'll read The Struggle Down Under just to make sure that we that next week we make sure it's something something fun. And then the Doctor Who one at some point. I'll have to try that, which does have more choices than what we just read. So, all right, you're welcome, Rachel. You're welcome, Stephanie. Okay, I'll see you. I'll be back next Tuesday. See y'all later.